Have you ever felt that? That little pull to know where you really come from? You know, that deep curiosity about the people and the stories that all led up to, well, to you. It's a feeling that cuts across all of us, no matter where we live or when. So today, let's dive into that fundamental human impulse, the journey back to our roots. It's such a simple question, right? But the answer? Man, it gets to the very core of who we are. This is about so much more than just a list of names and dates on a family tree. It's about figuring out our own identity, finding a little more purpose, and understanding our place in the huge, sprawling story of it all. So here's the thing. This need to connect with our past, it's not just a hobby for a few people. It's totally universal. It's a fundamental human drive that you can see playing out in a million different ways, all over the world. I mean, just think about it. From traditions where families visit and clean ancestral graves, to festivals where they build beautiful altars to welcome back the spirits of loved ones, humanity has always found ways to remember. It's this incredible common thread that's woven through all of our stories. And you know, this isn't passive stuff. We don't just sit and think about it, we actively do things. We visit those grave sites, we get the family together, we say the names of those who've passed out loud, we work to save their stories. That's how we keep these memories alive and kicking. So really, it all boils down to this. Connecting with our past is just part of being human. Without it, without those reminders of where we came from, we can kind of feel adrift, disconnected from the very foundation that gives our lives some stability and meaning. But what happens when we're just going through the motions? You know? When we do the tradition, but we've forgotten why we're doing it. That's when something really meaningful can just turn into an empty routine. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, this really breaks it down. On one hand, you have a living tradition. It's got purpose, it acts like an anchor, and it grounds us. But when we lose the why behind it, it just becomes a habit, an empty shell. The real challenge for all of us is to hold on to the meaning, not just the motion. Okay, so if we really make the effort to reconnect, what's the payoff? What do we actually get out of it? Well, this is where we find the real power of remembering. It's about finding our footing in a world that can feel pretty chaotic sometimes. The very first thing that happens is this huge shift in how you see yourself. You stop seeing yourself as this totally independent, self-made person, and you start to realize, wow, I'm actually a link in this incredibly long chain of lives, a chain that was built on the choices and the struggles of so many people before me. And as soon as that clicks, you get this amazing sense of perspective. Your own problems, your own successes, they aren't just isolated events anymore. Suddenly, they're part of a much, much bigger story that spans generations. And that can bring a real sense of calm, you know? Then comes this wave of gratitude, a really deep kind. You start to appreciate that your life right now was shaped by countless people, many whose names you'll never even know. It just gives you this profound respect for the foundation that your own life is built on. And finally, you find this incredible source of strength. When you know you're part of a long, resilient line of people who survived and got through things, it gives you the grit and the courage to face your own challenges head on. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's the perfect picture. A tree with deep roots isn't going anywhere when the wind blows. And it's the same for a family or even a person with a deep connection to their history. That memory, that history, it's what keeps you standing when life gets rough. So, this is all great, but how do we actually do it? What are the practical things we can do to make sure these important stories don't just fade away? I want you to think about it like this. Preserving a story, a name, a photo, it's not just saving an old object. It's an act of rescue. You're literally saving a life from being completely erased by time. Because let's be honest, after a few generations, most people are forgotten, unless someone makes the choice to remember. And the cool thing is, today we have so many tools. It's not just about some dusty old album in the attic anymore. We can build digital archives. We can record our grandparents telling their stories. We can create family websites and use social networks to connect with relatives all over the world to keep these stories alive and vibrant. So even though the tools we use have totally changed, the reason we do it hasn't. The fundamental purpose is exactly the same as it's always been. It's simple, really. We do this work to remember the people who came before us, to honor them, to preserve their stories, and maybe most importantly, to pass that incredible legacy on to the next generation.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? How does looking back at our past actually help us live better, right here in the present, and build a better future?
This quote really gets to the heart of it all. This journey isn't about getting stuck in nostalgia or being trapped by what happened long ago. Not at all. It's about pulling strength and wisdom from our history so we can plant our feet more firmly and stand with more confidence in our own time. And when we decide to be the ones who preserve our family stories, we're not just passing down facts and figures. We are giving the generations that follow us a gift that is, well, it's priceless. We're giving them an anchor in a world that's always changing. We're giving them a deep, real sense of belonging. And we're giving them a story that's big enough and rich enough for them to step inside and find their own place in it. And maybe that leaves us with the most important challenge of all. The best way to honor the people who came before us isn't just to remember their stories. It's to live our own lives with purpose and kindness, so that one day our lives become a story worth remembering too.